Hello! And how are we going? And welcome to episode 8 of The Humble Onion. Fantastic. Today, guys, we're going to be making absolutely unctuous, gooey, fudgy, delicious, crispy top and oozy bottom chocolate tart. An introduction to our ingredients. This is really simple, guys. It's super straightforward. We're going to roll out some pastry. We're going to do our own little blind baking of a tart shell. You can buy a frozen shell. It's really no stress. Beyond that, it's so easy. We're going to use some butter and some chocolate and make a ganache. We're going to blend that through some whipped up egg yolks and sugar. We're going to fold through some almond meal, some mandarin zest, and then we're going to whisk up our meringue and fold that through and make it all light and airy. Basically, what we want for this is I want the top of the texture of the tart to be like you're walking on a dry salt lake. And you just push through that top powder, and underneath will be all oozy goozy and delicious, okay? It's fantastic. Let's go! Before we start, like and subscribe. I always wait till the end. Most of you are probably finished on the toilet by then, so you don't finish the ends of the videos. Like and subscribe, okay? I see you.
The t-shirt!
This old thing. Highly available online. Bam! The link will be in the description box. Chocolate tart! Okay, so we're gonna start rolling this bad boy out. Our pastry is rested and wonderful. Rolling pin, very good. Live, delicious, wonderful flour, very important. Dry musket, also important. We know already, feeding the chooks, we've been here. So for your pastry, come through and just kind of push down to begin with, okay? So that's gonna help with getting the shape. This is far more pastry than we need, okay? But it's gonna make me look good, so I'm just gonna do that. 30 centimeter tart shell. I know because I measured it. Okay, push it out, push it out, push it out, push it out. You always wanna keep real well floured, okay? It's all good. And we're just gonna start rolling. Once you've got it and you can handle, give it a little move around so that we're taking more flour underneath, okay? And roll it out. Flour goes on there. And we bring it around. I feel like I'm back at TAFE. This is really good. So everyone thinks like, oh, I want this insanely thin, beautiful, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Give yourself a little leeway. I like the pastry in the fucking tart. You know what I mean? We want to be wider than our shell, so we need to keep going. Oh, wait. Whole time. Look like a fool. Oh, this is lovely. This is really great pastry. Move it all around. Give it a good flour. So the thickness is your choice. I'll show you how thick I roll mine. But really, I'm leaving you to it. Okay. This is looking pretty good. So now, we're going to cut, I'm going to use an oyster knife around here. Just get rid of all your excess. Let it all go. Beautiful. Keep all this. It's all useful. We can go again with that. Make some fucking small tarts or something. Okay. I think it's going to be just fine. Looking good, looking good. The best way to get this pastry onto the tart shell, don't try picking it up, you know what I mean? And you're thinking, how are you going to do it? This is how we do it. Flour it up. We're going to do this, okay? Roll it over the rolling pin. You can see exactly where the pastry is on the bench from flouring it. So we know that if that's in the center, as we come back and roll this over, bam! Now we just lay it down, push it all into the edges. It's so easy. Pastry's really straightforward. Don't be scared. Fergus Henderson said that if you're afraid, your ingredients will know and they'll misbehave. And I think that's one of the best things I'd heard. I read that in Nose to Tail when I was a young cook, and I thought that was so romantic and wonderful. So this is us. This is our beautiful tart shell. What I'm going to do, if I have a fork, this is called docking your pastry. It's going to make sure that as it cooks, it's not going to puff up, it's not going to expand. And that's all, okay? Now, we're going to put this in the fridge, okay? 20 minutes, half an hour, we're going to let it rest. We're going to blind bake it. We're going to bake it before we fill with our filling. And that's the lot. We're most of the way there already, and God, it was so easy. Okay, we're back. It's been half an hour on our pastry. It's had a really good chance to rest up in the fridge. The butter's also going to have cooled down and firmed up, you know what I mean? So everything about this makes it easier to work with. I'm going to show you now one of my tips for blind baking. So an easy way to make sure that our baking paper is going to line the tart really well is we screw it up and we get it wet. Obviously there's like a waxy layer on there, so it's no stress. So now Ah, so pliable, so easy to work with. Push it in here and push it in here. And then look, it's just gonna meet all the square edges of our tart that we've worked so hard to achieve. You thought these were props, they're not. So tip these in. You can use whatever you got. I'm pretty sure Heston says like use pennies and stuff. That's fine, I guess. Theoretically, you could use fucking sand. Use anything that's gonna weigh it down and stop it from puffing up as it cooks. So it's just gonna make we're just cooking the pastry here, okay? So this is blind baking. I've had to use a wee paella pan because I don't actually have a tray that fits in my oven, but that's home cooking. Use what you got. All right, we're going into my oven. Okay. And that's gonna go in there for half an hour at 165 degrees. Real recipe stuff, okay? We're actually blind baking this almost to completion. We're taking this all the way because our tart filling, our chocolate filling, we're gonna cook really hot and fast. So that's not gonna give us a lot of time to keep cooking the pastry. Say you're doing something like an apple pie or something where you're gonna cook it for quite a long time. You've got raw ingredients that you really wanna cook out. You wouldn't cook your pastry that far at all. Whereas for this, we're basically gonna have a completely cooked tart shell by the time we fill it with our filling. Let's go. Okay, so now we're just gonna make the filling. It's really simple. I've dropped my towel, but that's fine. I can just go over there. We're gonna make a ganache to begin. We have equal quantities of butter and chocolate. This is 78% cocoa Lindt chocolate. You can use what you got. I like Lindt. I like 78% cocoa, I think is very good. So that's going in there. We're just gonna melt it down. I'm gonna cube my butter because then it's gonna melt easier. If you've got a microwave, bang it in the microwave. We just don't wanna burn our chocolate, okay? So if you do it in the microwave, give it like 15 seconds, give it a stir over and over and over again. Don't just go for 2 minutes because the edges are gonna burn, man. Now, we're gonna do some whisking. We know how much we love our whisking here on the Humble Onion. So, whiskey, we're gonna do our meringue. We separated our eggs. 6 egg yolks, 6 egg whites. You already know how I separate eggs because you've been here from the beginning, you lovely people. Our first meringue that we did, if you remember way back, bing, is it gonna be on that side or that side? Bing, on that side. We had our parfait episode. We made a meringue together then as well, okay? That was a Swiss meringue. That's where we dissolved our sugar into our egg whites over the double boiler and then we whisked until it was cold. That's a Swiss meringue. This one is a French meringue. Hey, sacre bleu Bastille. Once these are looking frothy, this technique is called reining in our sugar, which is actually real. That's not just a Chris Howardism. We're just gonna rein in the sugar, little by little. What song are you going to use this time? You can't use Careless Whisper again, surely. We've overdone it. And now we're just going to whisk. This is looking lush. Okay, and we're here. Soft peak. Maybe thinking, I thought we're making chocolate tart. Why do we need to worry about that? It's important. This is basically a chocolate torte. Torte? I don't know. Torte recipe, okay? So the meringue is gonna give the lift, but also that's what's gonna give that lovely crust on top, that lovely little bit of texture that we're gonna through as we're eating, and that's fantastic, okay? So I really want that textural difference between the meringue and the fudgy loveliness that we're gonna get from the egg yolks, sugar, butter, and chocolate. Next, we'll take our 6 egg yolks. This one we don't have to worry as much. We really just want to whisk this up until it's nice. We can smell in the oven. Our blind baking is going exceptionally well. Our ganache is just melting here really well. You don't have to worry. This isn't going to split. You don't have to stress. Just leave it to melt and it's doing its thing. It's absolutely fine. KitchenAid this up. Because trust me, I wish I had a KitchenAid. We don't need to worry about the figure 8 stuff. We don't need to worry about all that at this stage. This is totally fine, okay? And once this is all melted, because we've weighed everything, we're really good chefs. Everything, look at that, it's all coming together. So, all there is left to do, we're gonna bring it all together. All we're gonna do is just stream this. Oh, that looks good. It smells good, it looks good. Rumor has it, it's gonna be really good. Mixy mix. All off the sides, all off here. Lovely, lovely smelly chocolate. Beautiful. We're gonna go in with some vanilla paste, okay? This is just flavoring. We know how Chris feels about this. Do whatever you want. I like the vanilla. The vanilla's going in. Mandarin. So just tap that off in there. Just mix all that in there. So the next thing is to fold in our almond meal. This is really just thickening the mix. You could use a different nut meal if you want. If you're allergic, you can use flour. I just recommend using a smaller quantity of flour, so maybe 100 grams or so. That's totally fine, but I like the almond meal and the texture that it brings. Now we're gonna fold in our meringue. You know about folding. I don't need to tell you. We're gonna fold in thirds. We're gonna make sure it's not fully incorporated before we fold in the next lot. We know so much about folding here at the Humble Onion. Fold in the outside. Oh, it's getting very thick and lush. The rest is going in. God, what a great meringue we made. Foldy fold. It's light. It's thick and airy. Let's go! All right, so the tart shell's out the oven. We're just gonna look under here. We see we're starting to cook in here, which is perfect. All right, so I'm gonna take this off now. So, trimming down our shell, because you're looking at it and there's all these edges and you're like, why have you done that? If you trim and then bake, 90% of the time, it's gonna shrink in just that little bit. I wanna be able to fill this tart shell right to the top, okay? So I bake first with all the excess and then we're gonna trim it off afterwards, all right? Best thing to use is a bread knife, all right? The serrated blade. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna come through and shave it down, all right? Now, it's a little bit messy. It takes a little bit of a while. You should probably let this cool down. Long strokes, yeah? Long strokes. Good slow-mo. And you can see we're gonna end up with this perfect edge on our tart. You gotta be patient with this bit, yeah? You start to rush. You're gonna take big chunks out that aren't necessary, and you're gonna get annoyed at yourself. Oh, we're nearly there. Way! So easy. And here we have our beautiful tart shell. Looks just like a bought one. Look at our edges. We're gonna go now with our mix into here in the oven. It's gonna be really fast. So we're gonna go hot and high because we really wanna pick up the meringue. I want that to, as it goes in, okay? So we're probably looking at about 190 degrees when it goes in here, which is pretty hot for a dessert, but it's only gonna be in for about 12, 14 minutes, so it's no stress, all right? Ooh, beautiful. So as I said, this is 30 centimeter tart shell. If your tart shell's smaller, use less mix. And we're going back in the oven. The tart's ready. The magic of television, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. All right, so you want to check this out here. See, we've got this little wobble in the middle. That's very great. This is all nice. This is going to get a really nice crackle. Underneath is delicious, soft, fudgy delicious. Because there's no flour in here, we're not going to make cake. We're not making a fucking brownie. It's not about undercooking our mix. We're literally just making a set chocolate ganache. It's very fucking wonderful. We're going to wait 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and then we're going to cut into it. We're going to eat some tart. We got some ice cream. Do we need anything else? Haven't touched the mic all episode. Thanks. Okay. It's been about 4 hours since we've started. I've had 3 bottles of wine. It's time to cut the feckin' tart. All right, here we go. Use your serrated knife because we don't just want to crush. We want to cut, slice through. Oh, incredibly good. I'm going to cut a nice sort of hefty boy wedge because I've earned it. I've done a lot of work. Oh, it's looking very nice. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Look at that. It looks amazing. We're going to serve it with some beautiful vanilla ice cream because nothing's better than vanilla ice cream. All right, that's it. We're done. Guys, we're here. It's only taken you about 12 to 16 minutes. It's taken me about 5.5 hours. But here we are sitting down to our incredible chocolate tart. Mate, I can't wait. Look at this. Oh. Man. West Australian mandarins. Lindt chocolat. It's chocolate tart. You don't need me to tell you it's good. It's oozy goozy chocolate that I've baked inside some pastry. Just make it. Like and subscribe. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. What's the episode? 8. Episode 8. Incredible. Thank you so much. That's it. I don't know. Tell me if you've learned something. Tell me if you like it. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. I'm going to eat more tart. Who wants some tart? It's very nice. Yeah.